Man, I'm too tired to stream anymore, but I have another game to show you. And I'm on Chess TV for 40 more minutes. So I guess I'm going to stream more. Let me take like a 5-second nap. Oh, that's better. Okay. All right, this is Vitiugov Shirov. And this was one of two games played this round in the Botvinnik Semislav, which you don't see a lot of anymore. It's one of the sharpest lines in chess. Shirov is one of the experts. But most super GMs do not like black. Most. Some do. Okay, you can play G3 or you can take this. There was another game played today or yesterday where black played bishop E7. That's the other move. Puzzled Pawn, who donates a lot to my stream, and he's somebody I know well, he plays bishop E7 here, I think. I think he does. Okay, and I've had white in this position. And I've had white in this position. I've had white in this position. And the main move is to castle. And Vitiugov played a very unusual move, which Shirov seemed to know. I've analyzed castle C5, D5 for hours and hours and hours. And I've had novelties on move 25 I've prepared. And I can't remember any of it now, because I never have this now. So I wouldn't even play white in this position because I can't remember anything. But 10 years ago I would have played white here. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Shirov plays like Shirov, right. Okay, so Queen G4, that's a very unusual move that I'm not necessarily familiar with. B4 attacking the knight. And now the d-pawn is hanging because he played queen g4, so he took the d-pawn. Now this is a double-edged sword because the c-pawn's weaker with it not being defended, and rook d1 can sometimes be good for white at some point. Okay, queen e2, and I'm sure this is all theory because the players are playing pretty quickly. Knight e5, castles. And material's equal here, but the position's a complete mess. And this is recommended by the engine. Rook e1, I'm sure this is his preparation, Vitiugov. And my engine doesn't like c5. c5 looks pretty natural to activate the bishop. And I remember at this point looking at the clocks, Shirov had taken a lot of time to get to this position, and Vitiugov had used like 3 minutes. So I think he was still in his prep. And the engine does not like that move. Now, if you ever take this, black has the pleasant choice of undoubling his pawns and getting a pass pawn in the 6th rank, or getting his knight to d3, forking and attacking. So since this isn't a threat, and the queen has nowhere to go that's safe, this move doesn't make a lot of sense. And the engine does not like it. And then he played a5, which the engine also doesn't like. And you have to take with a pawn because your a pawn's hanging. So c takes is considered bad. And knight to d2, threatening the knight on e5. And because black traded on e2, the rook on e2 defends the knight. And if the knight moves away, then we play knight takes c4 and we're winning. But so you can't lose your knight and you can't lose your pawn on c4. So white has a big advantage here because he successfully opened the a file for his rook. This pawn is being attacked. The knight's being attacked. And it's equal material. Okay, he played c3. The engine prefers bishop d6. And then after f4, attacking the knight, we're going to take this pawn. So the engine likes white a lot. Played c3, takes, knight e4. If he takes this pawn, he should just be winning. He's up a pawn. So he played knight f3 check. The engine prefers rook d3, but it still does not like black's position because that pawn's going to be lost. So he did play rook d3. Bishop e3 is excellent, threatening the knight. You can't... By the way, in this position, we're threatening rook h2 check, which we couldn't play last move because the knight was hanging. Now that the knight's defended, now you're threatening rook h2. So after here, you can't play rook h2 because the king takes knight. And after knight h2, I just pin the knight and no good. Okay, so this is the right move. And he took... The engine prefers doubling rooks here and says white's winning very easily. It does not like bishop takes knight. After bishop takes knight, it still says white's winning, but says this is an easy win. Just starting the attack on the A file, and black's bishop and rook are terrible on f8 and h8. But he played the forcing move, and then he wants to take this, winning the game. Attacking the rook and threatening check and taking on e6. And black can't allow that. Can't just give all your pawns away like your Mamedyarov. Terrible. So he played rook h6. Good. 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 Knight e5. Good. The rook is trapped. So he has to play rook d2. And they both have these 3 pawns each, but it's obvious these passed pawns are dangerous, and these pawns are probably just going to get captured. So not good for black. He tried, but he failed miserably. I mean, he probably thought he was just going to lose all of his pawns, so he tried to keep this one or this one. But yeah, 3 passed pawns, what else? Activate his king. Now, the engine does not like what white's doing. It doesn't like the counterplay that he's giving. In this position, it actually wants to play king f2 or rook b1. And I think I would be playing king f3 all day. Ridiculous. I don't like what the engine's saying. Seems very strange. And it also doesn't like king e4, which also looks great. And in this position, right now, the engine says equal, which is hard to believe. So I don't believe it. Knight d3, king c4, takes, and check, that's correct. And that's a blunder, losing the game. And this is why the engine, well, actually, king takes b4 may not lose the game. But the engine likes king c3 or rook e2 better. It literally doesn't care about this knight. It wants to win this rook. So the engine's claiming all these moves draw. And it doesn't like what Vitiugov did. Letting the king come in, the rook come in, and the fact that f4 gives away the e3 square. So we have this rook e3 check and rook e1 idea. But obviously this is too complicated for humans. Because this looks great to me. Okay. And the engine claims this is a draw, and he resigned very soon. This is right. This is right. And now the engine thinks white's winning. So the engine's just crazy. I need a better engine. This has to be winning. So what I'm wondering is king takes knight really a mistake? Does this move actually draw walking into the fork? Because you play here, obviously. The answer is I don't know. Maybe this does draw. So we want to go here next move. Then when he sacks his rook, we have a rook and a pawn for this knight, and that pawn's pretty dangerous. So maybe this is a draw. I don't know who the hell's playing king c3. You can't even play king c2. So it's a very strange move. But you're trying to play rook e1. And you're trying to save tempi. Like if you take and go here, you know, you're losing your d pawn anyway. White's getting a queen faster. And this move hangs on to the d2 pawn. In the game, he had to get this pawn to d2. But his pawn's already on d2. So the engine's like, go here, go here. That's very creative, and if somebody did that, I would think they're a super genius. If somebody played king c3, I'd be like, wow, that guy's good, assuming it's the best move. And the engine thinks this is a draw until I get a better engine. The better engine might think it's not a draw. Okay, and it thinks this is just losing, and Shirov didn't put up a good fight. And in this position, Naroditsky was not happy with king c2. He thought that black should play d2 more quickly. And the reason is, if you're black and you're going to win this rook for your pawn, and you can win the rook on d1 or d2, pick d2. You want your king as close to the white pawns as possible. So after here, if this is the next move and he takes, our king's on d2. But if we play d2, d1 and he sacrifices, our king's on d1, which is further from the white pawns. So he didn't like that. But the engine doesn't agree. It just says white's winning. It literally doesn't care what black does. So it says f5 is just easily winning. Here, here, here. f6. It just says it's winning. Plus 1,000. So he played king c. He checked, which seems like just a bad move. And then f5 is excellent. Got to gain a tempo. What's funny about this is, if black plays king takes rook here, we're getting into the Jeffrey endgame. King takes, d2, a7, king c1, queen, queen. And we got queen g and h versus queen. And that's an easier win because it's white's turn, and there's almost very few checks for black. But that's funny. It would look like the Jeffrey endgame. Queen g and h versus queen. In fact, the engine says this is the best move, going into that lost queen and pawn endgame. But he played here, and I figured rook f1 was good, because if you're going to save your rook, you might as well queen 2. At this point, and I actually think Shirov was right, and me and Naroditsky were wrong. Yeah. And when I say he's right and we're wrong, it's funny what he's right about and we're wrong about. I think Shirov knew the game was over and he was going to lose soon, and we were trying hard to find a good defense for Shirov. And Shirov did not try hard, and he resigned. He didn't resign here, but we thought this was the best move. And the problem is, after f6, if you play this, I go here. That's the problem. And then when I take your d pawn, that's better than the position I showed you earlier. That's even more winning. Yeah, and this is... it says plus 1 billion. Yeah. I go here and a queen. There's nothing to look at. So we were trying really hard for black to defend here, and Shirov wasn't trying hard because it's over. He knew it was over, and Danya and I were like, we got to defend, but yeah, he already gave up. Yeah. D1 rook, rook f5. Yeah, all right. What? What's wrong with this thing? D1 rook. Rook takes plus 1,000. What a stupid engine. Okay, so he took on h2, and Danya's like, take on h2. f6 resigns. f6 resigns. So we thought like rook h2 was just dumb, but it turns out it literally doesn't matter what he does. It's losing anyway. Now here, you have to go here, and then I got this pawn. So yeah, this is ceasing to be interesting. G4 might even be better. G4 is probably better. This wins, but G4 is better because I think we can avoid queen versus rook. And here we can't. This is going to be queen versus rook, which is a win, but that takes another 40 moves. But I think we can actually avoid it. Yeah. Yeah, we shouldn't let him get queen versus rook. We should just win. And G6, and yeah. That would be the more professional way. So yeah, after F6, black just resigned. But that was a fascinating game, but it seemed like Shirov was always on the back foot. And I think queen takes E2 trading queens was a bad move. His queen's great on D3, and letting him play A3, AB, and getting the A file. I mean, the position's really complicated, obviously. That's what Shirov likes. But Vitiugov is one of those underrated players because he's Russian. So if you're Russian, you know, there's 10 guys over 2,700. There are a dime a dozen. But if he lives in any other country, he'd be super famous. But you're like, well, what about Svidler? What about Kramnik? What about Nepomniachtchi? What about Karyakin? And so on. So you're like, Vitiugov, who's that? But yeah, he's good. Vitiugov's good. He can win a lot of matches. He plays very accurately, very solid, very Hare Krishna-like. Solid, good theoretical, doesn't blunder, confident. Yeah, he's good. Yeah, very much like Hare Krishna. That'd be a good match. Vitiugov, Hare Krishna. I'm going to set up that match. We'll have it here at the Chess Center. And then we'll have to leave because we can't pay the guys. So, harsh. Vitiugov is Nepomniachtchi's second. Yeah. No, he's good. Yeah. Yeah, Rick and Morty, 11 p.m. Eastern tonight. That is correct. Go, Rick and Morty. Yeah, I'm going to pick up Spencer after the stream, and then we're going to watch Rick and Morty, and then Karen will fall asleep on the couch while it's on. That's the only thing that's certain. Delicious. In the Women's World Cup, which I'm not following as much, but I am following it, Carissa Yip won today. If I'm not mistaken, and I am mistaken, if I'm not mistaken, she's the only American left. Now somebody in the chat can be like, no, she's not. What about, what's her name? I mean, for the women. I think she's the only American woman left. If there's another American woman left, then I'm not following it well enough. Anybody? Yeah, she beat a very strong player today. Carissa Yip. And then in the men's side, Shanklin drew the first game. Jeffrey lost. Gureyev lost. Man, the truth hurts. Fabi drew. Are those the only 4 Americans left? 2 draws and 2 losses? Man, truth hurts. Yeah. Oh, I'm doing great. Yeah. Shirov is born in the USSR. Right, well, he was born in Latvia, so you can argue whether it's USSR. I guess it was when he was born there. Yeah, Dubov. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Russia has so many good players. Somebody like Vitiugov doesn't get the kudos he deserves. Because, you know, you can name other Russian players that almost everybody considers better. But, you know, truth hurts. Sort of like Chinese players. There's 2,700 players in China, and you're like, what about Ding Liren? What about Yu Yang? And I'm like, I know, they're good. Seems like Wang Yui just quit chess because he's a coach. Because he was good. Wang Hao's good. He quit chess, I guess, after the World Cup or after the candidates. Oh yeah, Sevian. I forgot. Sevian did draw. That's right. So there's 5 Americans in the men's side and 1 in the women. Yeah. That's right. Duda's really good. Yeah. Yeah. Hikaru, Fabi, Wesley. I'm sorry. Hikaru and Wesley didn't play in this event. And Naroditsky, I think if he wanted to play, He could have played in qualifying events and played, but, he's busy. So Naroditsky probably would have won the first round and maybe the second round. Maybe. But probably wouldn't win the third round. Yeah, and also he might lose the second round. But, yeah, Naroditsky would be a fine player. Wouldn't go too far, but, still do okay. Yeah. Etc. Mainly etc. Sam Shanklin beat Joe Bava. That is correct. Yeah. So tomorrow, it's going to be Danny Wrench and Ifan from 8 to 11 Eastern. Then it'll be me and Danny Wrench, 11 a.m. till the show ends. Then the next few days, it's just me and Danny Wrench from 8 a.m. Eastern till it ends. The 21st, which is a Wednesday, there's no chess. They're taking a break. So there's no commentary. Then on the 25th, which I was supposed to do, they kicked me out to put in some jokes. Who are they putting in? Some you might not have heard of him. Vishy Anand? Yeah. So it's going to be Anand on the 25th. If you were wondering, they keep showing Anand's picture when Anand's coming. The 25th. And they also kicked me off August 4th, 5th, and 6th. That's also Anand. So the 30th is my last day, and then I go to New Jersey, and then Anand is when I get back. So I'll be doing commentary every day except the 21st when there is no commentary, the 25th when it's Anand, and then I'm done on the 30th. 30th, I'm only on at the end of the show at 11 a.m., and I have to leave early for the airport. So I'll be on like 11 to 1. And then I'm going to go, and Naroditsky will finish. So if you play that back, you'll know every second that I'm on, etc. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, it's like I'm the only non-world champion commentating with the host. Ifan, Topolov, Anand. Man, tough crowd. And me. Frankly, ridiculous. Yeah. All right, it's time to raid because I'm tired. I know I'm on Chess TV, but I literally don't care. And figuratively. It says Spencer is streaming, so we're going to raid him. I don't know if he is streaming, but if he is, I'm going to raid him. Yeah, then he'll be on Chess TV or something. Oh, I spelled Spencer's name wrong. That's good. And then, yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow, on the thing. The thing. Yeah. All right, thanks for watching. See you tomorrow. Bye.